Right now, the USS Gerald R. Ford is moving through the Pacific Ocean with 4,539 people aboard, more than the population of many American towns. They are 200 miles from land, surrounded by water in every direction. These aren't vacationers. They work around the clock in one of the most dangerous jobs on Earth. They eat 18,000 meals every day, sleep in rooms smaller than prison cells, and operate the most powerful weapons ever deployed at sea. How do 5,000 people survive for months in the middle of the ocean? The USS Gerald R. Ford isn't just a ship. It's a floating city with a population larger than thousands of American towns. Right now, 4,539 sailors, Marines, and airmen are living aboard this nuclear-powered aircraft carrier somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. The Ford is one of 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers America operates, each home to roughly 5,000 people. Nimitz-class carriers like the USS Abraham Lincoln, USS George Washington, and USS Ronald Reagan have been the backbone of American naval power for decades. Each carries entire communities across the world's oceans. Each carrier costs over $13 billion and takes nearly a decade to build. They can operate independently for months, supporting 5,000 people thousands of miles from home. The Gerald R. Ford stretches 1,092 feet, longer than the Empire State Building is tall, and displaces over 100,000 tons when fully loaded. It can cruise for 90 days without touching land or resupplying. Feeding 5,000 people daily is a massive operation. The ship's galleys run 24/7, serving over 18,000 meals every day. Aircraft carriers stock enough provisions to feed a small city for months, including frozen meat, fresh vegetables, dairy, and dry goods. Multiple refrigerated storage areas the size of warehouses hold these supplies. The food aboard is high quality. Navy culinary specialists train at top culinary schools and compete in cooking competitions. Fresh bread is baked daily in massive ovens. Meals range from pizza and tacos to steak and lobster, prepared by skilled chefs in Navy uniforms. During meal times, lines of sailors move efficiently through serving areas. Steam tables stretch for long distances, loaded with a wide variety of food, all while the ship moves, aircraft take off and land, and the vessel maneuvers in heavy seas. Feeding 5,000 people is just the start. Sailors sleep in efficient arrangements called racks, housing a population comparable to a small town in a space smaller than most shopping malls. Sailors sleep in racks stacked 3 high throughout the ship. Each sailor has a space about the size of a coffin, but it is theirs. Each rack has its own light, ventilation, and storage. Sailors personalize their tiny spaces with photos, personal items, and whatever comforts fit. These spaces become home for months at a time. Privacy is limited, but the crew adapts. Senior enlisted sailors may share a room with just one other person, while junior sailors often sleep with dozens in larger compartments. Everyone follows unwritten rules that make close living possible. Officers have slightly better accommodations, private staterooms still smaller than most college dorm rooms. Even the captain's quarters would seem cramped by civilian standards. Space is at a premium when supporting 5,000 people on a moving platform in the ocean. Aircraft carriers operate 24/7, 365 days a year. There are no weekends or holidays. Someone is always working, always watching, always ready. Flight deck operations alone require hundreds of people working in perfect coordination. Jets taking off from carrier decks operate in one of the most dangerous workplaces on Earth. Aircraft weigh tens of thousands of pounds, move at incredible speeds, and have jet engines that can suck a person in or blow them overboard. The deck crew, known as rainbow shirts due to their colored jerseys, each have specific jobs. Yellow shirts direct aircraft movement. Blue shirts handle chocks and chains. Red shirts handle weapons and fuel. Purple shirts fuel aircraft. Green shirts maintain catapults and arresting gear. Many are young Americans, often just out of high school, handling equipment worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. FA-18 Super Hornets cost about $70 million each. One mistake can result in catastrophic damage or loss of life, but they work with precision. During intensive flight operations, aircraft launch and recover every few minutes. Coordination involves air traffic control, catapult operations, arresting gear, fuel systems, weapons handling, and dozens of specialties working together flawlessly. Below deck, the ship's nuclear reactors are marvels of technology. 2 of 4W reactors on Nimitz-class carriers generate enough power for a city of 100,000 people. Reactor compartments are staffed by highly trained personnel who complete nearly 2 years of schooling before working on the systems. The reactors can run over 20 years without refueling, providing propulsion and electricity for lights, computers, radar, weapons, life support, food preparation, and water production. Aircraft carriers produce fresh water from seawater using nuclear-powered desalination plants. The Gerald R. Ford can produce over 400,000 gallons daily, enough for drinking, cooking, showers, laundry, and ship operations. The water is filtered, treated, and tested continuously. Waste management is a massive task. Food waste is ground and disposed of safely. Human waste is treated in sophisticated onboard sewage plants. Garbage is sorted, compacted, shredded, or burned in shipboard incinerators. Nothing goes overboard unless properly processed. These ships are completely self-sufficient for months. Medical care for 5,000 people requires a full hospital facility. Aircraft carriers have medical departments staffed with dozens of doctors, nurses, and corpsmen. They handle everything from routine sick calls to major surgery. Medical facilities include operating rooms, X-ray equipment, dental offices, pharmacies, and intensive care units. They are prepared for combat casualties and the everyday medical needs of 5,000 people living in close quarters. Emergency evacuations can occur by helicopter when near land, but in the middle of the Pacific or Atlantic, the medical team must handle anything. They have performed appendectomies, heart surgery, and other procedures while the ship is underway. Communication is vital for 5,000 people separated from family for months. Modern carriers have satellite systems for email, internet, and video calls. This is a major improvement over past decades when sailors might get only one brief phone call per deployment. Now, crew members can stay in touch, watch movies, and even take online college courses, which greatly impacts morale and mental health. Aircraft carriers operate in all kinds of weather. They can handle seas with waves over 30 feet high. The hull design and massive weight keep the ship stable even in conditions that would terrify civilian mariners. Flight operations may be suspended in extreme weather, but the ship continues. Hurricane force winds, massive waves, and driving rain do not stop its operations. The crew keeps working, eating, and sleeping as if docked. Navigation and seamanship to move 100,000 tons and 5,000 people safely across the oceans is remarkable. Maintenance is continuous. Specialists work on engines, electrical systems, weapons, life support, and hundreds of critical components. Everything must function perfectly because the ship cannot pull over when 500 miles from land. Training continues during deployment. New sailors learn from experienced crew members. Emergency drills, including fire, damage control, and general quarters exercises, happen regularly. These drills are essential because, in combat or emergencies, the lives of all 5,000 aboard depend on everyone knowing their role. Social life aboard is equally structured. These floating cities develop their own cultures, traditions, and ways to handle deployment stress. Religious services are held with chaplains representing multiple faiths. The ship's library offers books, movies, and quiet spaces. Fitness facilities help crew stay in shape and relieve stress. Entertainment includes movie nights, talent shows, sports competitions, and steel beach picnics where crew can barbecue on the flight deck when seas are calm. The crew is diverse, coming from every state, background, and walk of life. Small-town kids serve alongside people from major cities. College graduates work with high school dropouts who found their calling in the Navy. They are united by the shared experience of living and working in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Bonds formed during deployments often last a lifetime. Career advancement continues during deployment. Sailors take exams and complete training requirements while at sea. Sailors continue to train and compete for promotions. The Navy's commitment to professional development does not stop 1,000 miles from land. Leadership development is ongoing. Young sailors quickly learn to supervise others, manage complex systems, and make critical decisions. The responsibility given to 20-year-olds on aircraft carriers would surprise most civilian employers. Technology aboard these floating cities continues to advance. The newest carrier, USS Gerald R. Ford, uses electromagnetic catapults instead of steam to launch aircraft. Advanced radar systems can track hundreds of contacts at once. Computer networks connect every department and workstation, but the human element remains essential. These ships succeed because of the dedication, skill, and teamwork of 5,000 Americans working toward common goals. The economic impact of operating aircraft carriers is significant. Each deployment involves not just the crew but thousands of family members at home. Supply ships, port services, and contractors support every aspect of carrier operations. Strategically, these floating cities project American power worldwide. They provide air support, humanitarian assistance, and presence in regions without land-based alternatives. Environmental considerations are increasingly important. Newer carriers are more fuel efficient and produce fewer emissions. Waste management systems are continually improved. The Navy takes its responsibility to protect the ocean seriously. The future of aircraft carriers will bring even more advanced technology, but the core mission remains: projecting American power and protecting national interests with floating cities crewed by the finest sailors, Marines, and airmen. The men and women aboard these vessels live extraordinary lives in extraordinary circumstances. They show that Americans can thrive anywhere, do anything, and overcome challenges when working together. Every meal served, every aircraft launched, and every system maintained reflects American ingenuity, determination, and teamwork. These are more than ships, they are floating proof of what the nation can accomplish. The next time you hear news about aircraft carriers, remember the 5,000 Americans calling the ocean home. They work and live in conditions most of us can barely imagine, performing jobs that keep the nation safe. These floating cities represent the pinnacle of American naval power and a testament to the dedication of the sailors who operate them. They deserve our respect, support, and gratitude for their service to the nation.